Deidre, you bring the hustle to the workplace. You bring the hustle. How are you doing that? I always see you and you always bring that energy.
Yeah.
How you do it?
I mean, I think it's all the little things you do every day to get you to your end goal. So if you're not hustling every day, you're not going to get there fast enough. So it's just, I think you've got to set down your goals of everything you're going to do and get through that. Because it's all the little things. You're not going to have big epiphanies every single day or big things happen.
I got to be real with you. I was talking to my wife about today because I'm going to have to go to maybe therapy over this or something. But low energy people just piss me off.
Right.
Because they're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I've never met we interviewed Tim Redmond, high energy.
Right.
Interview you, high energy. I've met people who are calm, but they're passionate. They might talk calmly, but there's a passion there, a fire, just right below the surface. I've never met an entrepreneur who's like, well, basically, but you see people, they come to meetings like that. Well, I suppose that sort of energy doesn't work.
If you don't have that going on and get that excitement for your own business, how's anyone else going to be excited about it?
Now, the thing that's tough is an entrepreneur, it takes a team. You got to have that hustle of boss, but you also have people on your team who are able to not have the ambition needed to run their own business.
Right.
And they were perfectly content working for someone else.
Right.
And it takes a team.
It does take a team.
I have to learn to calm down, man.
And no one cares about your business like you do. Yeah. I mean, I think that's something to remember. So you've got the hustle and you're going, and it's hard to get everybody else to care as much as you care about your
When I go to a company and I see somebody yawn and they're the business owner, I want to reach in and just grab their tongue and just yank it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's so frustrating. Now, in your mind, do most entrepreneurs bring enough hustle to their job?
I think the successful ones do, but a lot of them, I talk to people all the time, well, I just want to work a few hours, or I just want to do this, or just want to do that. In the beginning, you kind of have to do it all. You got to do it all and bring the hustle, even the things you don't like.
Yep.
And then as you grow and scale, then you can start delegating that.
I hate to reference Shawshank Redemption because it's not necessarily a true story. But you know how he digs his way out with a spoon, I think, was it a spoon? Was it a knife? Was it a shiv? What was
Chisel.
it? A chisel? He works his way out, though, of the prison by digging his way out over a little bit every day.
Yeah.
That's what success is.
Right.
You don't have a shovel. Well, they have a spoon. Yeah. You dig your way to freedom with the spoon. And that's what it is. And it's that daily hustle.
Every day.
It's the daily application. Now we're moving on to my main man, George Foreman. I've met George Foreman, shook his hand. Each finger of George's is like 2 times the width of my finger. No, not kidding. I remember when he shook my hand, I was like, that is sick. He could break my head with that. And then you just see the fist, like, oh man, he's just, you can just see if you were boxing with him, just poof, I'm done. I mean, just unbelievable power. But George Foreman, so Big George. I met this guy, and he actually held my son back. As a different story, but he actually held my son. And this man was the former heavyweight champion of the world. But when he was young, people didn't know his name, okay? And we now think of him as being lucky. We think of him the guy who sold the grills. We think about him as being the guy who's had all this success. But here's the story. As a kid, he grew up in the projects, and he discovered boxing when he joined the Job Corps because he could not find work. When I think of Big George, I think of a man who battled his personal demons of anger for years before discovering God during a low point of his life. I think of a man who was praying for a personal miracle and who directly challenged God in his book, God in My Corner. Whether you believe in God or not, this is what happened. He said, God, if you will heal this person, I will retire from boxing and serve you and become a pastor. And the kid actually came out of the coma. And that's why he retired from boxing, and then he became a pastor. Then when he was 39, he came back to box again because he felt God told him to do it. I personally don't feel like I get a lot of direct verbal commands from God. Would love to have them. But this is what George said. And so when I think of George Foreman, I think of a man who today is a pastor of a church. I think of a man who didn't return to boxing until he felt that the Lord told him to. When I think of George, I think of a man whose infomercial has stimulated enough sales to give him a net worth of, they're estimating $300 million. When I think of George Foreman, I think of a man who listens to God, a man who inspires me every time I hear his name. I think of a man who I love George Foreman. George Foreman, I love you. But it's just amazing because I was going through a low point in my life. And I read his book and he encouraged me. I don't think a lot of people realize that George Foreman, though, basically felt abandoned and grew up in the projects and felt like a loser. And he only found boxing through the Job Corps.